Season 2, episode number 22. FlyerGirl Talk, preparing for long-haul flights.
Welcome to the weekly edition of FlyerGirl Talk. Nina does not do domestic. She's not a backpacker, avoids hostels, and she reps bad and bougie experience on a budget. If you have the same travel feels, you're in the right place. 31 countries later, get Nina's read on her own travel style, destination deets, trip ideas, and helpful tips that are not always easy to find on your own. Press the subscribe button on your mobile and put this show on lock to get the inside dish on this Flyer Girl's truths every week.
To start, I'd like to begin this episode with some pre-flight reminders for long-haul flights to anywhere around the world. This episode is for all you long-haul virgins to seasoned travelers who appreciate real to honest-to-goodness general advice and tips. So as we travel or prepare for travel this summer, we all are going to take some chances. Some work and some don't. Some are road-tested until they backfire. Before I get started, let's go ahead and begin with the basics. For some of you, long haul is different and varies from person to person. If you are obviously not a hugely well-traveled person and don't want to feel so ignorant with asking the question, what is a long haul flight? So in Nina Girl's world, this is a flight that's a minimum of 8 hours and ranges up to 20 plus hours in length, whether it's a direct nonstop or with a layover. So for me, anything below 8 hours is considered short to mid-haul. Yes. So I think back to my first long-haul overnight flight, and it was to London, England, and back in, my first real long-haul flight was Trinidad when I was 4 years old, but I can't quite remember the details. So I'm going to go back to 1997 when I was flying to London for the first time, and it was a real sample, but the real test was Asia that amounted to at least a total of 18 airborne hours, not including the layover that I had in Nagasaki, Japan. I didn't even know what to expect as a first timer. I just, put it this way, booked my travel and showed up. Most avid travelers are realistic in nature, and we all have our own proven personal magic formulas. And for others, you may just not know, like I did many, many years ago, how to plan and avoid being the travel victim. All around, it's not a good look just to show up for anything in life. Whether it's physically and mentally, in this case, because you're traveling, you're essentially doomed if you don't prepare before your vacation or holiday even starts. So each tip that I'm going to share during this episode, we're going to begin with one of my bad habits that I used to have, and I'm going to give you a proven bonus tip. These are my personal best of bad habits, people. Maybe in return, some of these may also ring a bell with you. Maybe you've done them. So at the end of each habit, you're going to learn how I manage each of them ritualistically. Bad habit number 1. First bad habit is saying to yourself that, I'm not so sleepy, and if you can't sleep. When the airline turns off the lights in the cabin, it's for a reason, people. You need to sleep because they want you to get acclimated to the time zone that you're traveling to. So if you're in a window seat, close the shutter so your eyes kind of start getting used to the darkness. And if you want to be left alone or avoid those chatty travelers, wear sunglasses or a sleeping mask. And then lastly, always have a bottle of melatonin in your bag, period, for your departure and return flight. And I'll go into that in the future, but mostly you want to take that melatonin before boarding your flight, because that is just going to relax you and put you in sleep mode. And if it means that you don't want to take a pill, again, these are over the counter, can be found at any pharmacy. If you're just weary of taking a pill, then by all means, make sure you have magnesium. I mean, that is a natural vitamin. Also, take a soothing tea like chamomile, or maybe some warm milk, or even some rosebud tea. That is a natural sedative. I don't sleep the night before a long haul flight, and I do that for a reason, because when I board my flight, I am ready to go into sleep overdrive. Contrary to the norm, Nina prefers catching the first flight out every time, because it means arriving at my final destination or my layover early enough for me to venture out and discover the lay of the land. Check out my article on Medium, Why I Love 6 a.m. Flights, and you will understand the full picture. But in most cases, it works in my favor to stay up all night just to ensure that I don't oversleep, miss my alarm, and I sleep better on the plane. And then lastly, I make quick friends with my neighbor, and I ask him or her, look, just tap me in the event the food is coming or being passed around, and that way I can make my quick selection and go back to bed. Or I just leave my tray table down after takeoff so the airline attendant knows, leave my food. Or you could just kindly tell the airline attendant, look, my tray table is going to be down. These are my selections for food. Can you just please leave this on my tray table in the event that I fall asleep? Bad habit number 2. This is my second habit, not hydrating. I'm really bad in general about drinking water. And not hydrating 48 hours before a flight can really wreak havoc on your body. Examples of what happens when you don't drink water are the normal chapped lips, dry skin. But when you board a flight, it's different. Now you're going to have painful, swollen legs like you've never experienced before. Your ankles are going to swell up, your hands are going to swell up, and your feet are going to look like an elephant for 24 to 48 hours. So if you have your shoes off and you are swollen, it's going to be really, really hard putting them back in. So you also want to be careful what shoes you wear, because in the event you don't follow this tip, you are not going to be able to wear your shoes. Guaranteed. I'm not joking. So after you pass through airport security, this is what you do. You buy a bottle of water. In case you just don't want to always be asking the airline stewardess, you have your own bottle of water. You drink whether you like it or not. You sip whether you like it or not. In fact, coconut water is an excellent last-minute hydrator if you forget to juice up in advance. In fact, coconut water has more electrolytes necessary to hydrate, so that should really probably be your first go-to faster than water. So if you are a person who goes to the bathroom, has a child traveling with you, it's going to be good practice to select that aisle seat opposed to window, because your fellow flight neighbors, they would greatly appreciate that. Bad habit number 3. Yes, you could assume you're perfectly healthy. Yeah, that's probably the case, Dr. Know-It-All. But it could all change in the drop of a dime. There is also a lot of dry and recycled air, as you already know, during a flight, especially with a lot of passengers who come on the flight coughing and sneezing. And let's keep it 100 here. They don't have the same broad-upsy skills when it comes to coughing and sneezing and even blowing their nose. You might be lucky and draw that winning ticket and end up sitting next to the sickest passenger on that flight. Then what? My rule of thumb is, look, juice up on emergency, vitamin C, whether it's oranges, orange juice, and a minimum of 2 to 3 days to 7 days prior to your flight. This way it gives your immune system that extra boost and protection from those germs. Bad habit number 4. I don't wish this upon anybody, but losing your passport. Look, it happens to the best of us. Don't ask, but on 2 occasions, I'm going to give you a little story. I ended up dropping my passport at the check-in counter and even forgetting it. And then also on another instance, the passport fell out of my passport case. Thankfully, I got it back within minutes, like immediately. This next is a proactive move, but it's also necessary. So in the event of losing your passport, or in my case, just plain stupidity, which we're all guilty of, make 2 copies of your passport before you leave on any trip, whether it's short, mid, long haul, doesn't matter. Leave 1 copy at home so someone can retrieve it on your behalf if needed, and then take the other copy with you and put it in the hotel safe or secure it safely in your locked, and I reiterate, locked luggage. Bad habit number 5. Never, ever assume your luggage is going to arrive. Don't. It's very skeptic, but the one chance it happens, it's always an inconvenience beyond whatever you could imagine, especially when you're thousands and thousands miles away from home. And if you have a multi-city trip, always pack 1 to 2 days worth of clothing in your carry-on. Until your luggage arrives, you will appreciate this tip. Bad habit number 6, last minute packing. Ugh. We're all guilty of this crime, and me every time. Some are better at this than others. I'm not. This either works consistently in your favor or against you when it counts the most. For me, I know I can't. I cannot do it. Normally, I start pre-packing a week in advance. This way, I can really say and feel confident that nothing was missed, and allows me to make those wardrobe changes without feeling any pressure. So while preparing for my last trip, my friends and I forgot all our major essentials, ranging from luggage locks to mosquito spray, shampoo, to name a few. And yes, I know these are easily found at any store abroad, but not quite. Not the brand that you buy, right? It's always this other brand that doesn't work the same. But I became a Scrooge, and I am a Scrooge when it comes to buying these things that I already have. So try to always keep a stash of essentials in your luggage. So there's some things that I just never take out of my luggage that always remain forever in my luggage. So you don't have to go through the activity of putting this on your list of things to pack because it's forever in your luggage. Bad habit number 7, planning your vacation around your menstrual cycle. For those of you just not on the pill and just don't know when it's coming, welcome to my world. So this one is really dedicated to the ladies. I knew it, I saw it, I ignored it. I prayed it came early, prayed it came late. This is something women think of all the time because we don't plan on having our period on purpose. But this will put you in good practice of doing that. But what totally sucks even more is getting it on your vacation and not having everything. And being in a country that doesn't use the same products. It could be a doomed vacation, as most females could attest to. This is when you have to send an PSA to your travel buddies, really just apologizing up front for the monster that you are or about to become. So similar to bad habit number 6, the whole last minute packing thing, just keep a stash of all your stuff in your luggage just in case your friend decides to visit, or maybe one of your girlfriends goes through the same dilemma and you know what? She didn't come prepared. Bad habit number 8. Let's keep it 100 here. This stuff is real. Traveler's diarrhea. I don't know where to begin with this one without infringing on the whole TMI thing. So I'm going to really keep it simple because the plumbing stops working or it just changes when you're abroad. And I think just partly because your body is undergoing an adjustment period of being 30,000 feet in the air for 20 plus hours, which can prove to be very uncomfortable, especially when you don't use public bathrooms. And You're just visiting a city with different public spaces, if you know what I mean, when it comes to the bathroom, the washroom, the restroom, all those type of semantics. But it's even harder when you're visiting a city known for its food and you're uncomfortable. Ugh, I hate that. I'm speaking from experience. So you got to take matters in your own hands. And prior to my trip, either I start fresh by detoxing prior to getting on a flight. I make sure all of that is out of my system. And remember, I'm hydrating. I'm getting my body ready for this long haul flight. But I also bring Pepto-Bismol, a good travel biotic, magnesium, or you want to get a script, that's a prescription from your doctor. In the event you have to treat any kind of diarrhea while you're abroad, whether it's street food, whether it's something that just does not agree with you, you want to have something of value from a medical standpoint in case you need to take that into your own hands. I really say no more other than that. You guys get the gist. And that's a list of my 8 travel habits that I do or prepare for ritualistically. I do not divert through all my travels. This is something that I do instinctively. Like, there's nothing on this list that I don't practice. So, if you have a travel tip or a bad habit you want to share and how you manage around it, I'd love to hear it. Send an email to feedback@ninababel.com and I'll be sure to make sure to have an episode with everybody's bad habits and the remedies around it. Thanks for tuning in to FlyerGirl Talk. If you have all the travel feels and possess the Keep It 100 in your life, tune in each week, in fact, every week, for real travel talk, Nina's deets on tools, Nina's deets on travel tools and advice. Review the show in iTunes, and even better, don't forget to subscribe. Yes, so you never, ever, ever miss an episode. Like what you heard? Then you know what? I want you guys to share it. Help me spread the word. Look, I'm on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, YouTube, Google Play Music, Auto Radio, and Alexa. Can't get enough? Well, then get social with the Flyer Girl herself using the handle @NinaBabel on Instagram and Twitter. And join the 100 Nation on the Keep It 100 Girl Facebook page and let me know what you think of this episode. Look, people, travel is my passion, and more importantly, it is my therapy. If you've listened to my past travel episodes, you will know or become very familiar with my travel personality. After all, Nina has traveled to 31 countries. It has expanded my mind over the years, and it has filled all the empty gaps in my life. Travel brings power and love back into our lives. So tune in next week for some more love when I talk about being an Amex Platinum card holder, because there's so many travel benefits using this card or having this card. I'm telling you, I have missed out on so many benefits over the years, and I've had this card for at least 10 plus years, and I'm so angry. But they're always reinventing themselves, and I'm going to share with you what they're doing in case you are a platinum member and you've done the same stupidness that I have. And if you're going to Cartagena, Colombia this summer, well, guess what? So am I. In fact, I'm leaving this week. So follow me on social for all my travel shenanigans, and I'm going to be coming up with a future episode on Cartagena as well. So Flyer Girl keeps it 100. Nina keeps it real. She keeps it true. Smooches.